Oh, that's awesome.
What's that?
All right. All right, sound check now.
All right, are we
on.
doing well?
I hear us.
What were you saying that was awesome for? Something else?
Yes, I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay, don't worry.
Where'd that one go? Oh, I know what I'm doing. Write this on.
Sound check. 1, 2, 3.
Go over here. Yep, there we are.
Why did Jesus ride in on a donkey and a colt? Ooh, that's actually a really good question.
Well, he had really big legs.
Right. Can you answer that question? I mean, I can give an okay answer to it, but that's not one that I'm super strong
I
on.
have to come back on tomorrow on that one.
Okay.
All right, well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Fireside Chat. We are live. We are here for you. Good Shepherd is here for you. We are here in your. We are. This is the depressing one. It's like Bob the Tomato, and you're like Larry. Like,
What did I say?
I like it. I like that song.
I like that song.
So we are here for you. We are your community in the distance. And we are happy to be back for Fireside Chat on Monday morning. So
absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us today.
How are you all doing? How was your Palm Sunday? I really enjoyed those Palm Sunday doors that we had, and I hope you enjoyed the re-display of them. I thought that'd be kind of nice to have here on the chat in the morning here. So thanks again for participating in that. Before I get too far afield and we get too lost, I want to mention as well that I mentioned it at Mass, but also just something we're going to do for these 3 days, but I need your help. I just sent out a flock note about it last night as well. And also, before I get too far afield from my field, sign up for flock notes if you want to know what's going on. If you have people that say Good Shepherd is not reaching out to us, we're trying. I don't have email access to everybody. We haven't got our phone tree hasn't gotten to everybody yet. We're working on it, but the best way for me to get in contact with the most amount of people is through flock notes. We try to keep our website updated. We try to keep Facebook updated and YouTube, but I've only got so many tools. So if you know anybody that's not connected, tell them to sign up for flock notes.
Right. A quick note as to why we use flock notes. First of all, it's a great service.
Yes.
It really makes a lot of things easier on our end. But second of all, when you have long email lists and you don't have a company help to take care of that, then you fall into problems with spam filters. And so one reason why we can't just send out a billion emails to people is that it would get caught by your spam filter and then you would never see it. So we have to use a program like Flock Notes or another program to make sure that it won't be directed to your spam filter. So that's one reason why we use it, in case people are wondering.
Yeah, good. I didn't know that myself, but and so the thing that I sent out at Flock Notes yesterday is what we're trying to do is for Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter, we're trying to do a little video display. So like we had the door display this time, which is why we set up the Google Drive, which we had some problems with.
Sorry. It was my idea. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't work, but oh well.
It worked somewhat. But the idea is you can send pictures okay over an email, no problem. But video is a little bit harder. What we want to do is we want to, again, continue to connect people. We have our live stream masses, which are good, I think, and I think we're doing as good of a job as we can be. I'm impressed by all the work that Raffaele is doing, and Father Ashmore, and the musicians, and all those that have really tried to make these as beautiful as possible. But what is missing is the people. And it is missing not only the people at the Mass, but the people after the Mass and before the Mass, where you can talk to one another, right? So we wanted to, before the Mass, allow you to somewhat talk to each other with these video testimonials about why Holy Thursday is important to you, or some special family tradition, or Good Friday, or Holy Saturday, or Easter. Any of those three, or all of those three, but not all of those three in one video is what I'm looking for. Because here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video collage, or a sequence of all the videos, as many as I can anyway, before Mass, so that people can come to Mass early and talk to people, basically, or hear people talk about what's important to them about Holy Thursday and Good Friday and Holy Saturday. But I want those separate, so that when you come to Holy Thursday Mass, you're talking about Holy Thursday. When you come to Good Friday service, you're talking about Good Friday. When you're coming to Easter, you're talking about Easter. So, anyway, check your flock notes. If you want more information, send me a message, post on the feed. I'll provide more information. So you can either send that to the Google Drive that's in the flock note, or personally send it to me Facebook. I don't think I have a way to receive messages through Good Shepherd page, but you can look me up on Facebook, and you can always message me. And then that's a pretty easy way we learn, because I can just take the videos off of there. And then, or you can try to email it, but the file will probably be too large, and I'll probably tell you can't do it. So.
We have one question about flock notes here, which is, if you sign up for one flock notes group, are you signed up to all of them, or you signed up to GS? How does that work? Well, actually, you're in charge of that. So when you sign into your flock notes account, which you can access through the Good Shepherd webpage, you would go to Good Shepherd, go to the little flock notes section, sign into your account. You can choose which groups you want to hear from. So, like with this particular person, they have students in VIA, and so I may have added you myself. But you can go through and take yourself off that list, or you can add yourself to other lists. So,
and I think if you sign up for one group, are you automatically added to the general, or is that when you sign up for also?
No idea.
I'm not sure either. I sent out some flock notes to the general, so you might just check your flock notes account and see which places you are receiving things from. Where did you ask parishioners for the pics of the front doors? I've put it out on flock notes. Oh, you were responding to this, yeah. So, and we talked about it here. I talked about it. I talked about it on Facebook and flock notes.
I think it was sent out on the update. What do we call it?
It might have been the weekly. It might, but that
weekly update.
Yeah, I think it was, because we had those things. So again, our main method of communication is through flock notes and Facebook. Those are the main things, and we sometimes can update the website. That's a little bit more of an involved process. It's much easier to send a flock note, and it's much easier to send. I don't know how to do the website.
And I can do the website. The problem with the website is that you don't get notified when it gets updated. So I can only make it as obvious as I can, and it's not super obvious when I add new information onto it.
Right. Again, we need to do a kind of a rehaul of the entire website. That front page, that's huge, of the dancers and everything. So you have to scroll down for a while before you get any information.
Exactly. We only have like one section for actual updates, and you have to go up to it's one of my projects to work on that. Actually, I should probably start doing that. So
well, we've all had a lot of things going on, so
yeah.
So there's an update about that. I also, and then it's so exciting. So this is what I was talking about right before. So in case you missed the beautiful Palm Sunday display that Matt DeHamers made out of the palms. Stop by the church if you can, if you're out on essential business. Again, I don't want to promote breaking the stay-at-home order, but you are allowed to get out and exercise and go for a little drive, get food and stuff. Drive by Blackfish and see the display. But anyway, Matt sent me a message that Channel 9 News is coming at 11 o'clock to talk to Matt. So that's very exciting.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I posted that on Facebook, his display, and I have never, I've been on Facebook for a while, I've never had the response I had to this cross thing. I think I had like 242 shares.
It's blown up.
It's blown.
What can we say? We're going viral.
I see what you did there. So, and then Mary Mueller just sent me a message here about the flock notes. So let me read that here. I believe if you sign up for Flocknote, you go into the GS Shawnee group. Other groups you opt into. So if you sign up for Flocknote, you're automatically, it sounds like, into the mass Flocknote. There's the text one and there's the email one. I haven't been using the text one very much because you're limited to like 250 characters or something, and I couldn't get all of the information needed.
Right.
That the Google line, the Google Drive line for that matter, is about that long.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah. So.
Right. So with you particularly, I'm pretty sure one of your sons gave me your email address, so I added you to the VIA list. So you may need to just check into Flocknotes itself and create an account there, and then you can choose all your groups. So that's why you may not be getting the main GS ones.
Very good.
Because I overrode.
I see. So, great. I'm glad that some people said that they love the crosses. I'm over there on the YouTube as well. Let me give my little shout out to my nieces here. Hello, Rachel. Hello, Rosalie. Hello, Laura. Thanks for watching on the big screen. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the show now. All right, so we got that.
Other things going on right now. Yesterday I had another VIA, which is the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. We are consistently getting 16 to 20 computers, computer screens connected to VIA, which means that we're getting more than that student-wise, because a lot of students have families. And so they've got brothers and sisters who are joining us. So we're probably getting 20 to 23 kids every time, which is pretty exciting. Yesterday we played a game through Kahoot, which was fun. I posted it.
Kahoot is that a game thing?
It's an online thing. I hosted the Kahoot thing. I don't really know how to explain it. I hosted the Kahoot thing, and then the students signed into it, and it was trivia. So we played trivia, and we played that for a good 20 minutes. We talked about prayer, and right now, I don't know how the students are responding to this. We'll see. But I'm actually reading to them the story of Dominic Savio at the same time. So that's like 10, 15 minutes I read to them. We have another lesson, and then we play a game. So
cool.
It's working well, and I think the students keep signing on. So
that's great.
Yeah. Kahoot. Yeah. It's a lot of fun, but I didn't know how it works, so the students had to show me how it worked yesterday.
There was a game that we played in Topeka. I don't know if it was just a Topeka thing in the 90s with theater folks, but there was a game that we played, Are You in Cahoots?
Oh, really?
Have you ever heard of?
No.
Yeah. And it was this game, and the rule of the game is you would just ask, are you in cahoots? And you either were or you weren't, and they'd be able to... It's like one of those things where
I hated those growing up. Oh, man.
I loved them. Well, I hated them. I had a love-hate relationship with these things where you had to be, if you were in cahoots, you were under strict order that you could not explain it to anybody else. It was something like one of those little things you have to figure out, like letters in the word or something.
But, yeah. They're terrible.
Oh, I loved those things. But there are all kinds of those different things. But yeah, and that made me think. Whenever I hear the word Kahoot, I always think, "Are you in cahoots?" Mm-hmm. But that's like a very inside reference to, I think, a small group of people that grew up in Topeka in high school in the 90s.
Did you guys play the game where you stood in a circle and then you guys played like ninja moves? That was a big thing when I was in high school in the theater groups between. We did this thing for the choir groups and in our district choir, state choir, those sorts of things. And we did it in our school too. You stand in a circle, and then you'd have to like do ninja moves one at a time and go around and try to get the person next to you out, but you could only move once. And so
how did you get someone out?
By hitting them.
Oh,
by hitting their legs, I think.
I see.
But they could move
to block.
But you could only move.
You only got one movement.
You only got one movement. Yeah. Did you guys ever play that?
No.
I'm wondering what it was called. If somebody can remind me what those are called, let me know.
I think I have seen people playing that though.
Mm-hmm. They used to play for hours upon hours.
Did you bring that to Totus Tuus? Did I possibly see that in Totus Tuus?
I never did in Totus Tuus, I don't think.
You did Totus Tuus 3 years?
2 years and a quarter, or an eighth, or something like that.
Okay.
I got called back for duty at one point to cover somebody who was sick. So, I did an extra week. I think I went to Hiawatha that year. So
Okay.
I did Totus Tuus in summer of 2012, 2013, and then I did an extra week of it in 2014.
So Totus Tuus, it's a great summer program that theoretically,
Yeah, we're gonna have maybe.
theoretically, it's coming this summer for our parish. We've had it before, but we brought him back, and Miguel Hernandez, our DRE, is doing an excellent job this year, and he really has been on top of that. And it was a small group. We had to get done like the very first day, and he was on it. So. Someone is calling
This
me.
is the emergency line, so I'll give the call.
Okay.
I'll go
Oh, that's
answer
for
the phone
both of
right
us,
back.
huh?
Yep.
Yeah. So we do have an emergency line, and when Father Ashmore comes back, I'll put it on that. That's because we have canceled or are canceling the
Father Ashmore.
the rectory phone line because we never use it or very rarely use it. So, but we do want to have way for people to get in contact with us if there's a sacramental emergency or something. So,
Don't worry at all.
but I have been abandoned.
After probably 10:45
So-
can I ask in what regards?
Let's see here. Okay, so more details. So for our masses coming up for the Holy Week, I also posted on the Facebook, and it was in the newsletter this past week of the Holy Mass, the Holy Week services with the masses and the Christian Family Supper, which Father Ashmore will talk about in a bit. So our Holy Week schedule is Holy Thursday at 7:30 and Good Friday at 7:30, and then Easter Saturday, the Easter Vigil, Holy Saturday, is at 8 o'clock. So all of those services, as has been our custom, are bilingual. It is. Hold on. Let me figure out what's going on.
We're okay.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna give us a call in an hour or so.
Okay. Very good. So I was just talking about I was swimming all by myself. I was trying to swim with one arm. I didn't know what to do.
So I didn't realize I was so crucial to this operation.
Well, then I could also hear you at the other end. So anyway, so we've got Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and the Easter Vigil, which will be 7:30, 7:30, and 8, and those will be bilingual, as has been our custom. It poses a particular challenge this year. It puts us in a little bit of a pickle, if you will, of how do we do...
Nice job.
Thank you. How do we do these... That was for you there, Lisa. How do we do masses with 10 or fewer people, which is the order, although there's religious exemption, but so we might be expanding a little bit. We want to still respect the law. But,
Yeah, exactly.
But like if we have like 11, I think we're okay. So, but how do we do a bilingual service with very few people?
Mm-hmm.
And we're still figuring that out. But one thing that we're going to do, which I think will be interesting, is the big catch. The big difficulty was on Good Friday. We had the big Passion reading again, right? So this one's from John.
Mm-hmm.
And we were working on developing a more bilingual version of that long Passion reading. That's the most challenging. I mean, Good Friday service, it's a beautiful bilingual service because it's the veneration of the cross, the petitions, which are fairly easily done bilingually. A lot of it is just, it's visual. But the Passion reading, that's a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
So what we're going to do, and I have a meeting tonight with the team, we have had the tradition here at Good Shepherd, led by Bill Hines, of reading the Passion with like kind of a chorus of readers. Like there's about 10 readers or so, and they read it kind of chorally. It's very well done. It's subdued. Everyone wears black, if I recall, and each person has kind of their part and their readers. And there's some very slight movements, like when we all close the book together, or there might be a point where we all look at one person or whatever.
Okay.
Some slight movements. That has traditionally been in English. This year we were going to make it more bilingual, but here's what we're going to do this year, and we got a meeting about it tonight. We're going to try to do a recording of that in English via Zoom. so that and then we're going to read live the Passion in Spanish at the service. But I will invite people. It'll be right there in the link. If everything goes as planned, we're just trying to think all kinds of creatively. That I will invite people at that point, at the time of the Passion. If you would like to hear the reading proclaimed in English, click right here, which will take you right to the Zoom proclamation in English. So you can then you see. So you might have to leave the service feed for a little bit, and then hopefully it'll be timed out about the same, where you can rejoin then for Father Ashmore's spectacular homily that he will be doing on that day. So anyway, we got a meeting about that tonight, but I think if we do it right, we have a few practices. I think that can be a very effective method of doing the Zoom thing. We'll all wear our same black and have our folders, and there could be a combination of both grid view for like some of the choir parts, and single view. So we're gonna play around with that tonight. So anyway, that's what's happening with our Holy Week. Okay, so that's for that. Also, hey, yes, Debbie put a comment there on the Facebook feed about making phone calls to fellow parishioners. I'm going to copy and paste this and put it over on the YouTube site. So thanks, Debbie, because we are trying to reach out to everybody. So, well, I'll confirm that that's okay, Debbie, before I paste. I have copied, but I have not pasted. Why don't you confirm that you want that information on the YouTube as well? And if not, just let me know. Okay.
I need a haircut.
I was gonna cut my hair this morning, but I didn't get around to it.
Yeah, I need to do that. When my hair starts to grow longer, my receding hairline becomes more obvious.
I see.
And you can see it especially from this view. I'm just noticing it.
I used to
getting old is hard, isn't it, people?
I used to have a receding hairline. Yeah. It has fully receded.
Yeah, exactly. The troops have pulled back.
Retreat.
Oh my! When I was in high school, we had.
Watch out for the eyebrows.
When I was in high school, I had a fantastic choir director. His name was Mr. Scrupa, and we would always make a joke about Mr. Scrupa on the night before the play, I believe, or the night of the first musical. There would always be letters sent from the previous senior class to the seniors of the year saying good luck in this musical and all that. They were beautiful. They were called torch letters because you're passing the torch. But one of them always had to make the joke about Mr. Scrupa polishing his head on show night, and about how we thought Gayla, his wife, came and added oil and used a polisher. Whatever.
That's very good.
Oh my. You seem okay. So
well, I was doing. I'm limited to 200 words, things, 200 spaces for the YouTube.
Okay, I just want to point out. Lori asked a really good question about why Jesus is riding a donkey and a colt in the story of Matthew, and I want to tell you, Lori, I have an okay answer, but I don't have a really good answer for that one. So I'm going to do some research today and get back to you on that tomorrow. Okay?
Yep. Good question.
It's a really great question, and it's one of those that are kind of like. Look, no, I won't use that word. They are points of question in sacred scripture, like why is that? And different people treat it differently, but I don't really have a good answer. So,
but we also got too far afield. I forgot to mention what we were drinking today.
Oh my goodness!
We are drinking the Folgers. It's a Folgers Black Silk kind of day in this huge tub. This black silk is pretty good. I kind of like this black silk. So that's what's going into our mouths today. So what are you reading? What are you studying? What are you looking at? What's keeping you connected? What's keeping your flame of faith alive in your hearts? So what's going on there? Father Ashmore usually has something interesting that he's been working on. So,
well, this is not something interesting I've been working on. I read this a while ago. We were talking about saint stories before, and I thought I would share this particular book, which is actually 2 books. It is by...
And I'm going to take you over to that camera.
Okay.
To the Father Ashmore cam. The Ash cam.
Ash cam? Wow. This is by G.K. Chesterton. G.K. Chesterton is one of my favorite authors. He really revolutionized my thinking when I was 15, 16 years old when I first started reading his works. And he's got 2 great biographies, one of St. Thomas Aquinas and one of St. Francis of Assisi. I think actually first I'd suggest people to read the St. Francis of Assisi one, just because I think it's a little bit more approachable. They're great because they really dive into the soul of these 2 people. One thing that you can take a look a little closer. One thing that is absolutely true about these biographies is they're not really biographies. G.K. Chesterton is not a biographer. He doesn't go through and check all the facts. He doesn't go through and find original source or anything like that. So when it comes to the actual historicity of it, the historicity is fine, but it's not biography level that you'd expect from somebody today. Rather, it's really a delving into the soul of the figure. And he's got really beautiful meditations on who they were from a truly Catholic perspective. Sometimes biographies, in a really good sense, can get too bogged down with details about the person's life. In May, he traveled to Sarajevo.
Right.
In June, he came back. That trip had no importance, but we list it here because we want to. It's it's important in some sense, but they don't dive into the soul of who they are. And I think G.K. Chesterton really does a great job of getting into the soul of who is St. Francis of Assisi, not from the outside, but from the inside. Who is he? Who is Thomas Aquinas, not from the outside, but from the inside? And what can I take from them? What part of their experience can I apply to my experience? So, if you're looking for a good biography of either one of these 2 figures, I would highly suggest G.K. Chesterton's St. Thomas Aquinas and St. Francis of Assisi. I'd probably start with St. Francis of Assisi, even though he wrote Thomas Aquinas first, I believe, because I think Francis of Assisi is just a little bit more approachable. And Thomas Aquinas, you have to know a little bit more about philosophy to really gather this particular story. But there's some really beautiful passages. The point when he talks about St. Francis of Assisi going into the cave and coming out and realizing everything was upside down is a classic of literature. It's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where it is, or else I'd read it to you. It's somewhere back here. So
Very good.
mm-hmm.
Well, I've never really gotten into Chesterton myself. However, I did. So I've been recommending this Bishop Barron stuff that he's got, and he had a series. I think it's supposed to be volume 1. I don't remember seeing a volume 2. It might be because he became a bishop and he's got less time. But he's got a series of, I think it's 6 or 7. The
Pivotal players.
Pivotal players. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you.
Okay.
And Chesterton is one of those pivotal players, and I was watching that on Saturday as I was doing some organizing of various things. It was really interesting and interesting to hear about Chesterton. And I mean, I've tried Chesterton a little bit, and he's very British, and I think I need to know a little bit more about his background. It seems like the immediate impression that I had years ago, and I haven't read him for years, is, as sometimes has been the case with some British writers, they are rather verbose, and why say something in 5 words when you can say it in 50? Is I got a little bit of that impression when I was reading something of Chesterton back in the day.
I wouldn't agree, but I understand.
But again, that was probably 20 years ago, and I just hadn't really gotten into Chesterton.
He's got a playful style.
Yes.
And so you've got to get into his game that he's playing. Orthodoxy is a great introduction to Chesterton. That's probably his most famous book, Orthodoxy by G.K. Chesterton. It's how he came
I think that's where I started. Yep.
Yeah. And so his first chapter, I think, is called The Ethics of Fairyland.
Okay.
If that's not his first chapter, it's one of the first chapters. And you've got to get into it. He's got this roundabout way of talking about the text, his idea, so that by the end, you haven't only understood the concept, but that concept also reaches into your heart, I think. And so that's what he's trying to do. That's why you could be considered verbose, but I think he says just the right amount of words to achieve the end. But most people don't read expecting to have their heart changed by what they're reading. They expect to have their mind changed by it.
I see.
So I think there's a different element that he's working for. Also, he's playful, so sometimes he writes things just because it's fun and it makes you laugh.
Which I'm all for. But I must not have been in the right mood or in the right place.
Yeah.
Were we talking about that fireside chat or 7 ago about being in the right place? That maybe you weren't ready for it now, but it's been. It seems like we had this conversation of what?
Trezeville is you.
Oh yeah. It was just like last week, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're just not ready for that your heart has not been prepared, and then you come back and visit it later and like, this is brilliant. Why did I not like this 10 years ago or
Absolutely.
whatever? So
Mhm. I would suggest if you can get an annotated version of his books. I have one, Orthodoxy, which is annotated, which means that they add little details at the bottom of the page to help you understand more of the historical context.
Oh,
or
yeah.
things like that.
that's
I
probably a
really
good
suggest
idea. Yeah.
Because every now and then he'll start going on about some figure, and you're like, who is this guy? And it's some politician from 1917 in Britain, and it really makes sense if you know that figure, but if you don't, then
Right. It'd be like someone probably talking about Dr. Fauci or whatever 100 years from now.
that's
like,
probably a great example. I'm sorry. Yeah, go
okay.
ahead.
that everyone knows who Dr. Fauci is right now, but
4 weeks ago, no.
I.
Right now, absolutely.
That's right.
Mhm.
But he was also. I mean, he's been working in like the White House or whatever for like since Reagan, I think, wasn't it? Like a long time.
I don't know.
But anyway, so yeah, so he'd probably make a Dr. Fauci reference or whatever.
Exactly.
Everyone knows who this guy is.
Mhm.
So.
Right, because he was a newspaper writer. In many ways,
okay.
much of his stuff was originally written for newspapers, and he's not a newspaper writer like Hemingway. He does not have his style at all. But
Okay. Lisa mentions, hi Lisa, you working with 5 other Christian mom friends doing an amazing Beth Moore video study called Believing God. Cool. Yeah, so check out that comment on the Facebook there. That is a good recommendation there, I think, as well. Hi Linda, glad you made it. Pant pant. Yeah, what else are you working on? What else are you going through, studying, reading, watching? Let us know. Should I mention our show last night?
sure, it was interesting.
Yeah. Well, and this is just for fun too, because I mean, there's also chance to watch some fun stuff as well. We were watching it. Has anyone ever seen Foyle's War? It's a really great series that my mom and my sister introduced to me, and we watched one of the episodes last night. It's so it's FOYLE''S, and it's about this detective who works in World War II era England, and it's so fascinating because there's so many layers that are going on, and it's just like a level of wartime that you just don't think about. So it's World War II is kind of in the background, and then he's solving mysteries, murder mysteries or whatever. Meanwhile, in the context of all this World War II, so we watched one of those episodes last night, and I'd seen several of them, but I hadn't seen this one. I thought it was great. So just it's always interesting all those different layers that are in those shows. So it's an opportunity to maybe see some shows or whatever that we haven't had a chance to watch, and so.
Yep, we just had a question by someone.
Okay, and you're looking something up?
Yep, I'm just looking. Oh, no, Psalm 22. There we go. They asked about Jesus' words on the cross, when he says, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And this is one of those really good moments when we have to examine the text not only from an individual person's experience of it, but also from the historical tradition and the biblical tradition that it's coming forth from. Because a lot of people will read that and think, oh, Jesus must have despaired on the cross. That's impossible. Jesus couldn't have despaired, because despair is a sin. Like to despair and believe that God isn't able to do something out of this is not, it's a fault. Let's not just say there's a fault involved in that. So that would be the wrong reading to say that. What is Jesus doing there? And it's important to recognize that there's a great tradition in the Hebrew faith of praying the Psalms every single day, just as we pray the Psalms in the Liturgy of the Hours. So the people growing up during that time, especially boys, because they would have been taught by the Jewish tradition at that point, they would go to school at the age of 12 and learn about and memorize the Psalms. There was a great tradition of them memorizing all the Psalms. So when you would say the beginning of one of the Psalms, you would reference the whole Psalm. And so you could say something like, the Lord is my shepherd. If I said that today, almost every Christian would respond, there is nothing I shall want. Right? And then many people could go on and on and on about it. They could do that with many, many of the Psalms. One of the Psalms that they could do that with was Psalm 22. So when Jesus says, my God, why have you forsaken me?" he's referencing Psalm 22, which is a psalm of not necessarily despair in that sense, but a psalm of crying out to God when we feel like we've been left without aid. But the end of Psalm 22 ends with victory, because God ends up saving the person, and he ends up, well, he says that even in the midst of all this, I will praise my God. And let's go to the actual text of it here. All the earth shall remember return to the Lord. All families of the nations shall worship him. For the kingdom is the Lord's. He is ruler of the nations. They shall worship him, all the mighty of the earth. Before him shall bow all who go down to the dust. And my soul shall live for him. My descendants shall serve him. They shall tell of the Lord's generations yet to come, declaring his saving justice to peoples yet unborn. These are the things the Lord has done. So when Jesus is crying out there, he's actually giving a cry of victory.
Mm-hmm.
A cry of victory coming forth from his incredible sense of sadness and suffering at that point.
Right.
That God can even redeem this.
Right.
So, and he says, this will be, as it says right there, this will be his saving justice.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We're going to add on to that? Or?
Well, just a little bit, yeah. So, I was mentioning that yesterday in the homily, but I was also something that kind of made it didn't make it into the homily itself, but was kind of on the cutting room floor. So this is the extended cut, I guess. Is yes, you would know that first line. So like if I were to say, "Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots." Many people would know that I don't need to say the rest of that song. I got friends in low places, right? So you just say the first line and blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots. Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of the song, I don't need to sing the rest of the song. For many people, they know it. So the same thing was, my God, why have you forsaken me? So they edited the thing that wasn't in there is, so he's on the cross, right? And he can barely breathe. And it's possible that he couldn't, even if he wanted to say this the whole psalm, he couldn't. And maybe as much as he could get out was, my God, why have you forsaken me? And I was just reflecting on that in the midst of like the coronavirus, right? Which is the respiratory disease, and how people are limited to how much they can communicate when they've got that or whatever. That you could speak just enough to say I love you, or to say those things, and the rest of it can be supplied afterwards. So I was just reflecting on that as well in the context of, I watched a video years ago about the kind of the scientific nature of how Christ died on the cross. It was really brutal.
It is.
And just, I mean, let alone he was nailed there, but also just the idea, I think you die of asphyxiation is, and like for every breath, whenever you feel like you're out of breath, and you have to lift yourself up, which is actually hurting yourself more, and you get less and less breath.
Right.
And so those words that Jesus says on the cross, every word that he had to say was a word of pain. And that Psalm 22, it's long, and I'm sure there's no way that Jesus could have said that whole psalm, but he could say that much, and you would know the end, right? So, no. So, anyway.
Beautiful, our Lord.
Linda, I saw that email that you sent about the Station of the Cross, written by the priest mother in Saginaw, but I have not had a chance. I think that came in last night or this morning. It just came in. I haven't had a chance to look at it. Maybe I can look at it before tomorrow's fireside chat. It sounds like it's very interesting. As I was saying, I'm always on the lookout for new Stations of the Cross. I thought the ones that we did from Creighton, I really liked those. Those were some of the best that I have seen myself. I know that you like the
gibbet.
the gibbet, the gibbet one. I'm okay with that one, but I liked seeing different Stations of the Cross, different reflections on that, and I haven't found like the winner for me yet. So I'm interested to see this one. What I'm always looking for as Stations of the Cross is something that takes into account that scene, brings that to our mind there, and then it applies it in some way to our current life or our current situation. That's what I want in the Stations of the Cross. Some of them are too biblical, some of them are too long, some of them are too, I don't know, I don't feel as connected to them. So, but I'm interested to see this one. So, I don't know if you have anything to add on that. You like that gibbet?
I like the word gibbet. It feels good in the mouth, doesn't it? Gibbet.
I always thought it was gibbet, but it's gibbet, huh?
It's gibbet. I believe.
So for those couple of years that I pronounced it wrong.
On the gibbet. We always had that was part of the reproaches according to how it was translated at conception, and so Father Timothy would always correct us. It is gibbet, you know? And I just remember him directing us and to be saying, "On the gibbet of the cross," or something like that. I don't remember what my I don't remember what my note was in that one. So that's why I like it. It's got memories to me.
Yeah. I mean, I like the word gibbet. All right, it rhymes with ribbit.
Ribbit. Oh my.
So, but it just always sounded kind of weird as you were walking through those stations. So, all right. So, anything else on people's minds? Do you have anything else to share? Oh, you want to share you got the Christian Family Supper. Talk about that, please.
So some people are probably getting tired of hearing about this, but I just want to make sure everybody know about it. So as you can see, we have developed the Christian Family Supper, which is a opportunity for all of us to join together on having supper on Holy Thursday before the Good Friday Mass.
I'm going to take you back to the ash can.
Okay, as you've heard, there's a tradition of having a Seder meal in the Jewish faith, and we wanted to take that idea and apply it within a very Christian context. And what we've done is developed Christian Family Supper. It takes some elements of the Seder meal, but more elements from the Liturgy of the Hours, special evening prayer of Holy Thursday, and from the Mass of Holy Thursday, and applies it so that you can celebrate these things at home. What we'll be doing is we will be projecting ourselves celebrating Christian Family Supper on Zoom, and then families who want to join in will send a Zoom link so that all of us can join and have dinner together. We'll lead you through the rite. It has a sign of peace. It's got the story of redemption. It has the actual supper in which we will feast and celebrate. Then it has a washing of the feet, which we've included because we're not going to be doing the washing of feet during the Holy Thursday Mass. So we encourage you to come home and do that at the home. If you want more information, you can go to gshawnee.org and you can find it. It's in the What's Happening section. It's called Christian Family Supper. All you have to do is fill out the Google form, and there are 2 questions as part of the Google form. Who are you, and where should we send the email address? Very simple. And you'll be receiving the Zoom link hopefully by Thursday morning, and you can join us at 5:30 on Holy Thursday for Christian Family Supper.
Great.
It should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Very good. All right, so I don't see any more questions here in the chat at the moment. Linda, I will take a look at those stations and see. I think again they would probably be great. Send us any questions that you have to email frkent@gshawnee.org and frashmore@gshawnee.org, and we'll be happy to answer those questions as we can. I think that pretty much wraps up our chat for today.
It does indeed.
All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. We have Rosary today at noon, and that will be the ending of our broadcasting schedule for today. So we have Fireside Chat 10 o'clock tomorrow, and then today we have noon Rosary. All right.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining us today. May God bless you.
Glad to have you.